Good morning. We're ready to call the board meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, March 25th, 2026, and it is now 10 a.m. Mr. Keddy, if you would please call the roll.
All righty. Before we call the roll, I think I should just have to make my one statement for Mr. Schaefer since
Please.
he's appearing remotely. Good morning, Mr. Schaefer. We have a statement that we have to read, and I need you to respond. If a member of the board attends a meeting by teleconference from a remote location, the member shall disclose whether any other individual 18 years or older is present in the room at the remote location with the member and the general nature of the member's relationship with such individual. Mr. Schaefer, is there anyone 18 years of age or older present in the room with you?
Yes, I have two people with me. My chief of staff, Cody Pedersen, and my assistant, Micah Perlin, are both here.
Can't understand what you're saying.
Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. Is the microphone, are you close to the microphone? We're getting not such a clear connection from you.
Oh, I was not aware of that. Is this any better?
That is better. Good, thank you. All righty, I'll be happy to call roll now. Good morning again to everyone. Chair Lieber.
Here.
Vice Chair Gaines.
Here.
Member Vasquez.
Present.
Member Schaefer.
Present?
And Deputy Controller Emron.
Present.
Okay, thank you, members. Quorum is present, and the board meeting is called to order. We will begin with Pledge of Allegiance, led by Vice Chair Gaines. If you would please stand.
Sure, yeah. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, members. We're going to first go to our opening remarks, which are limited to 3 minutes each, and we'll begin with Vice Chair Gaines.
Great, thank you. It's a beautiful, unusually warm day for March, huh? But I just wanted to take a moment, if I could, and recognize Chuck Norris, who passed away recently at age 86. And he was well known for a number of things, but he had his Walker, Texas Ranger TV series that had gone for quite a period of time. But he was also an expert in martial arts, and I believe he had won 6 championships in the martial arts, one of which was Taekwondo. And he was also in one of the Bruce Lee movies, which are iconic for early martial arts.
Enter the Dragon.
Yeah, Enter the Dragon, that's right. And he was just a good family man, and had strong faith, and someone that you could look up to, and a generation that's hopefully not lost, that we still have heroes in our younger generations stepping forward. But I had a chance to meet him in the 1970s when I was in high school, because I was taking Taekwondo myself, and he had an exhibition at the YMCA, which is really cool. And so just wanted to recognize him, and so much that he was able to pack into a life well lived. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Vasquez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I have a couple opening remarks, but before I started, I wanted to recognize, and I guess he's on our screen, our happy birthday boy here, Mike Schaefer, who's thought he'd be present, but he's not, but celebrating 88, I believe, 88. Kind of a historical day or year for one of our members. And also, I understand our executive director is tomorrow, Yvette Stowers' birthday.
That's right.
So happy birthday to both. Wishing you all the best. With that, I'd want to open up with recognizing 2 annual observances in March. The first one is celebrate many of the outstanding achievements of women throughout history in our society. First March is designated Women's History Month by presidential proclamation to honor women's contributions throughout American history. The theme, I understand, of 2026 is Leading the Change, Women Shaping a Sustainable Future, celebrating the powerful influence of women who are designing blueprints for sustainable transformation in the area of developing green technologies, advancing economic justice, and strengthening educational systems, and more. Second, the International Women's Day is celebrated annually on March 8th, celebrates the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. This year's theme of 2026 is Give to Gain, encouraging a mindset of generosity and collaboration. Whether giving through donations, knowledge, resources, infrastructure, visibility, advocacy, education, training, mentoring, or time, contributing to women's advancement helps create a more supportable, interconnected world. One powerful example of the growing influence and equality of women today came to my attention in 2025 research brief from the University of Southern California highlights California's national leadership in women-owned businesses, finding that our state is home to 1.5 million women-led companies, more than any other state. Their businesses comprise 39% of all businesses in California and have added $580 billion in revenue from 2019 to 2023. While there's still more to do towards equality in all areas, I commend all our women business owners for their progress they have made. And lastly, but not least, I wanted to also recognize Red Cross Month is also celebrates in March as well. The humanitarian mission of the American Red Cross, honoring volunteers, blood donors, and supporters who provided relief and comfort during disasters and emergencies. The month-long campaign encourages public involvement to ensure help is available when it is needed most. Red Cross Month began during World War II when President Franklin D. Roosevelt called on individuals to address growing humanitarian needs. The national call to action became the community tradition that reaffirms the power of compassion and the impact of working together. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Vasquez. Mr. Emron.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning to you all, and also want to wish Member Schaefer a happy birthday to you, 88 years old, certainly a record, I believe, in California state history. So just extending my well wishes to you. Such an honor to be your seatmate, your neighbor here at the State Board of Equalization on behalf of the Controller, and also the fire and passion that you bring to taxpayers in your district, and also how much I appreciate every time I'm in your district, you're such a welcoming face. So continue to do the good work, and I wish you have a great day. And also to our executive director as well for your hard work. It does not go unnoticed, and you continue to be a great force on the State Board of Equalization. So thank you for all you both do. And then also last Thursday, I got to be in the state capitol for a very historic day as March was officially declared Afghan American Heritage Month in California. As an Afghan American myself, this month holds deep and personal meaning. It's a time to reflect on the journey of so many families, including my own, who have carried forward a rich culture, a deep sense of community, and an enduring resilience in the face of challenge. I also want to acknowledge that this recognition was brought forward by the first ever Afghan American State Senator, Dr. Aisha Wahab, whose leadership marks an important milestone, not just for the Afghan community, but for the broader story of representation here in California. And I speak time and time again about my parents' path and their story of son of refugees who fled communism and found democracy right here in America, in California. We got to come here with $1 and a dream and found our way. And I just hope that I can be an inspiration for future generations to use their voice and speak up when things are at the table. So Afghan Americans are an integral part of this state. Across California, Afghan families have built businesses, contributed to our economy, strengthened neighborhoods, and enriched our cultural fabric. California is home to one of the largest Afghan diasporas in the country, and that presence continues to shape our communities in meaningful ways. This month is not only a celebration of heritage, but also a recognition of resilience of those who have overcome displacement and hardship, yet continue to give back, uplift others, and build a future grounded in opportunity and hope, which we all hope for and search for. This all happened in the backdrop of Nowruz, the Persian New Year, celebrated for over 3,000 years. 300 million people celebrate the mark of the first day of spring solstice, which is a time of hope, renewal, and transformation. And then also, to couple that, it's the end of Ramadan, just last Friday, and it's marked Eid, and it's a really blessed time. It's a time centered on reflection and gratitude and generosity. It's a moment to come together with family and community to give those help in need and to carry forward the values of compassion and unity. I joined Assembly Member Matt Haney for the introduction of AB 2017, which will make Eid holiday a California state holiday. So young people and those that maybe state workers don't have to choose between coming to work and celebrating a great holy holiday. And it's really a historic time in the state of California. So today we recognize African American Heritage Month. We celebrate Eid, grounded in pride, reflection, and a shared sense of community. So thank you, and Eid Mubarak.
Thank you, Mr. Amran. Vice Chair.
Thank you. I'd be remiss to not recognize my colleague, Mike Schaefer, and happy birthday to you, Mike, at age 88. And I believe you're the oldest constitutional officer in California state history. Is that right? Yeah, I can't hear you, but I can see you nodding.
Mr. Schaefer, are you on mute?
Is your microphone on?
Yes, Cody just fixed it. I didn't notice it was on mute. Yes. Yes, thank you, Ted. I am the oldest constitutional officer to serve, and I used to be the youngest city councilman in California. That was when I was 27. So I've got the bookends in life, and
That's
I
right.
appreciate so much that you realize it.
A full spectrum. Yeah, thank you. We appreciate you. And then I wanted to recognize Yvette Stowers too, and on her birthday tomorrow. And we're really fortunate to have you. You've done a great job in terms of providing leadership at the Board of Equalization. And so just keep on going. Thank you so much. And then on a less happy note, I can't help but recognize that we had 2 deputies that were shot in El Dorado County. And so it was an altercation with PG&E. And what happened is the property owner came out and said, "You're on my property, get off my property." And they say, "We're not on your property." As my understanding, it was actually across the street. And they were working on a pole. And he says, "Well, I'm going to get my gun." And they said, "Well, we're not on your property." And they didn't leave because they get threats all the time. And so the guy came out with a gun and shot one of the workers in the arm, and he's recovered, or recovering, I should say. And then 2 deputies, they called the SWAT team out and everybody to apprehend this crazy man. And 2 deputies got shot in that altercation. And we were very fortunate that it wasn't worse than that. And I believe they've both been released from the hospital. I saw one of them at a charity event for police officers a couple of days after the event. So it's a blessing that they're okay, but people in public safety put their lives on the line all the time. And so I just want to recognize how dangerous their work is, and firefighters too. We think that we have this kind of perfect view of what a firefighter does, but man, they're dealing with tough issues with suicides and other types of death of children and things of that nature, and the psychological impact in terms of what they have to do is really rough. So thank you for letting me just catch up.
Thank you. Mr. Schaefer, did you have any opening comments that you'd like to make?
Yes, Madam Chair. I stopped reading the comics about a year ago because there's so much else to cover, but the newspapers are so full of tragedy every day. I think I'm going to go back to the comics. I want to thank all of you for your sincere birthday greetings. There are two other giants of our lives that have a birthday today. One is the great Arturo Toscanini, who passed away back in the 60s, but he was the leading concert director in his time, and he was a household word through all of my life, Arturo Toscanini, and today is his birthday. And we must recognize Elton John, who's one of the real giants of the music world, who's still with us, thank heavens. Today's his birthday, and I'm proud to have lasted 88 years. I hope to be in another government position next year, and will be the oldest there. So I'm giving us old folks somebody to be their champion, and I'm very proud of that. The nicest birthday gift I have is from you folks allowing me to appear remotely today because we have a short meeting. I'm enjoying it immensely, but I look forward to being with you again next month. And thank you all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Schaefer, and I'll go ahead and make my comments by first off recognizing Member Schaefer. It has been a real privilege to serve with you here, and I salute all your service that you've given to the state of California and to the communities that you have represented. You are a unique individual like no other that has served California, and you are definitely a part of California history. You've made an indelible mark, not just on this agency, but throughout your district and throughout California. You've been a real inspiration to activists, and so I am wishing you a great year ahead, and thank you so much for all of your service. And we can't wait to get you back in person so we can buy you the breakfast sandwich across the diag here, and we hope that you have a great day today. And then I want to also recognize our Executive Director, Yvette Stowers. It's kind of a great coincidence and synergy that your birthday is during Women's History Month, because you are definitely a history maker and you are a woman of excellence. And we are so pleased to have you here and have your guidance and your direction, and to be able to watch all the things that you've done for this agency and in all the posts that you've served on. It really is impressive. So I hope you have a great day tomorrow and a great year ahead, and look forward to working with you. Thank you so much for your service. And we'll go on now to our first order of business, which is the safety and informational announcements presented by Mr. Ketty. And I noticed that our controller came in on the line as well. So we'll go ahead and have that announcement also.
Good morning, Controller Cohen.
Good morning, Katie.
Yes, let me make our statement here. If a member of the board is attending by teleconference from a remote location, the member shall disclose whether any other individual 18 years or older is present in the room at the remote location with the member, and the general nature of the member's relationship with such individual. Controller Cohn, is there anyone 18 years of age or older present in the room at your remote location?
No, I tested. I'm by myself.
Okay, thank you. I'll continue then with the announcements. First, I'd like to remind the audience to silence their cell phones and any other wireless devices. Our safety announcement. In the auditorium, the exits are located on each side of the stage at the front, with additional exits at the rear. Please take a moment to locate the exit sign and closest exit to you in the event of an emergency. Our informational announcement. This board meeting will be live streamed to the public and posted on the BOE website. Public comments are taken on each agenda item. If there are any members of the public wishing to speak before the board on any agenda item in person, we ask that you complete and submit to the Sergeant of Arms a public comment appearance sheet located at the entrance of the auditorium. If you wish to speak before the board by telephone, please dial the phone number and access code provided on our public agenda notice and follow the instructions of the AT&T moderator. When giving public comments, please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. We also ask that all speakers in the auditorium or on the AT&T telephone line state their name before speaking for the record. This concludes the safety and informational announcements. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll go on to item 1, which is public comment on matters that are not on the agenda. People who wish to address the Board of Equalization regarding items not on the agenda may do so under this item. Please note, as usual, the board cannot act on items that are not on the agenda. However, the board can schedule issues raised by the public for consideration at future meetings. Remarks are limited to 3 minutes. We have no written communications nor anyone in the auditorium who has indicated that they would like to speak. So we'll go to our AT&T moderator. Moderator, if you would please let us know if there's anyone on the telephone line who would like to make a public comment regarding item 1 on the agenda.
Thank you. If you would like to make public comment on item number 1, please press 10 at this time. 1 followed by 0. An AT&T operator will quickly gather your name and place you back into the queue. Again, please press 10 for public comment. And Madam Chair, nobody is queuing up.
Thank you. Members will go on to item 2, property tax matters, DCR Transmission LLC. This is regarding land escaped assessment. This is constitutional function, and Ms. DiNapoli will be presenting today. Thank you.
Try again. I'm usually loud enough they can hear me anyway. So good morning, Chair Lieber and honorable members of the board. My name is Pam DiNapoli. I am a manager in the State Assessed Properties Division. Revenue and Taxation Code, Section 758, allows for the addition of assessments to the assessment roll that have escaped assessment. I am here this morning to present land escaped assessments for the board's consideration. Items number 2 through 5 represent new properties acquired by state assessees where they failed to report timely and as a result, escaped assessment. All 4 assessees have been notified of the escaped assessments and have been given an opportunity to provide additional information to change our escaped assessment findings. In addition, each assessee will have 50 days after adoption of the escaped assessments to file an appeal if they choose to do so. So, if you would like me to go through each one of them, I will. The first one is DCR Transmission LLC, assessee number 105. So the first set of land escaped assessments for the board's consideration are for DCR Transmission LLC. DCR did not provide additional information in response to our 30-day letter. So the escaped assessments for DCR are for 2 land parcels in Riverside County. Members, I ask for the board's adoption of the escaped assessments for DCR Transmission LLC. Thank you.
Thank you. And so is there a motion to adopt the land escaped assessment? Moved by Mr. Gaines, seconded by Mr. Vasquez. And we do not have any written comments, nor is there anyone who submitted a speaker card, so we'll go to our AT&T moderator. Moderator, could you please tell us if there's anyone on the line who would like to comment on item 2?
Thank you. To comment on item number 2, please press 1 followed by 0. 1 followed by 0. And nobody is queuing up at this time.
Thank you. Members, is there any discussion on this item? If not, we have a motion by Mr. Gaines and second by Mr. Vasquez. And so we'll go ahead and call the roll.
Chair Lieber,
Aye.
Vice Chair Gaines.
Aye.
Member Vasquez,
Aye.
Member Schaefer,
Aye.
okay, thank you, and Controller Cohen.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, members. The motion carries unanimously. We'll go to item 3, property tax matters regarding Pacific Gas and Electric land escaped assessment. And this will also be presented by Ms. DiNapoli.
So this next land escapes are for Pacific Gas and Electric Company. PG&E did provide additional information during the 30-day review period, and staff made revisions to our initial escaped assessments. The land escaped assessments for PG&E is related to one land parcel in Santa Clara County, and I ask for your adoption of the land escaped assessments for Pacific Gas and Electric Company.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adopt the land escaped assessment as recommended by staff?
So moved.
Moved
Second.
by Mr. Vasquez, seconded by Vice Chair Gaines. We'll go to, we do not have any written comments nor anyone who's submitted a speaker card. So we will go to our AT&T moderator. Moderator, if you could please let us know if there's anyone holding to speak to item 3.
If you would like to make public comment on item number 3, please press 10 at this time. 10. And Madam Chair, nobody is queuing up.
Thank you. Members, any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and ask the clerk to call the roll. Mr. Vasquez has made the motion and Mr. Gaines has seconded.
All right, Chair Lieber,
Aye.
Vice Chair Gaines,
Aye.
Member Vasquez,
Aye.
Member Schaefer,
Aye.
Controller Cohen.
Aye.
Thank you, members. Motion passes unanimously. We'll go to item 4, property tax matters, Pacific Bell Telephone, also land escaped assessment. And Ms. DiNapoli.
So for Pacific Bell Telephone Company, assessee number 279, land escapes are for this company, and the assessee was provided with a copy of the land escaped assessments and did not provide any additional information during the 30-day review period. They will also have 50 days after adoption of the escaped assessments in which they may file an appeal. The escaped assessment for Pacific Bell is a result of late reporting for 3 land parcels, 1 land parcel each in Humboldt, Placer, and Yuba counties. I ask for your adoption of the land escapes assessments for Pacific Bell Telephone Company. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to adopt the land escaped assessment?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Vasquez,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Gaines. And we have no written communications nor any speaker cards. So we'll go ahead to the AT&T moderator. Moderator, if you could please let us know if there's anyone holding to speak to item 4.
If you would like to comment on item number 4, please press 10 at this time. 1 followed by 0. And nobody is queuing up.
Thank you. Members, any further discussion? Seeing none, Member Vasquez has made the motion and Mr. Gaines has seconded. And we can ask Mr. Getty to please call the roll.
Okay. Chair Lieber,
Aye.
Vice Chair Gaines,
Aye.
Member Vasquez,
Aye.
Member Schaefer,
Aye.
Controller Cohen.
Aye.
Thank you, members. That's unanimous. And we'll go to item 5, property tax matters, Mendocino Railway, also land escaped assessment, and Ms. DiNapoli.
Thank you. The final land escape assessments today are from Mendocino Railroad, assessee number 815. They were provided with a copy of the land escaped assessments. Mendocino Railway did not provide additional information during the 30-day review period. The escaped assessment is related to late reporting of 1 land parcel in Mendocino County. I ask you for the adoption of the land escape assessments for Mendocino Railway. Thank you.
Okay. So the requested motion is to adopt the land escaped assessment recommended by staff. So we've got a motion from Mr. Vasquez and
Second.
seconded by Vice Chair. And We do not have any written communications nor speaker cards. So we'll go ahead to our AT&T moderator. Moderator, if you'd please let us know if there's anyone on the line hoping to make a comment on item 5.
To comment on item number 5, please press 1 followed by 0. And nobody is queuing up at this time.
Okay, thank you. Members, any further discussion? Seeing none, we've got a motion from Mr. Vasquez, seconded by Mr. Gaines, and we'll ask Mr. Getty to call the roll.
All righty. Chair Lieber,
Aye?
Vice Chair Gaines,
Aye.
Member Vasquez,
Aye.
Member Schaefer,
Aye.
Controller Cohen.
Aye.
Okay, that passes unanimously, members. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
DiNapoli.
Great day.
And we'll go on to item 6, property tax matters, Alamitos Energy Center LLC. And this is regarding their audit. And we have Ms. Cruz presenting today. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Lieber. Excuse me, and honorable board members.
Oh, I think we need you to push the button.
It is.
There, oh, it is.
It was. Okay. Good morning, Chair Lieber and honorable board members. I'm Michelle Cruz, manager over the unitary section in State Assessed Property Division. The State Assessed Property Division performs routine audits of state assessees under the authority of California Revenue and Taxation Code Section 828 and Government Code Section 15618. The purpose of a property tax audit is to determine the accuracy, completeness, and reliability of the financial data furnished by state assessees and used by the board in the valuation process. Audits also include an internal review of methods, calculations, and assumptions used by the State Assessed Property Division. Before you today, for your consideration, are 4 property tax audits completed by State Assessed Property Division staff. The assessees have been presented with a copy of the audit report and provided a 30-day window to provide additional information in response to the audit report. Upon adoption of each audit, excuse me, the assessee will receive official notice of their change value and are provided 50 days in which they may file an appeal. Due to the confidentiality nature of the material used by staff to determine our recommended value changes due to audit, we are limited to what we can discuss in today's public meeting and cannot discuss specific aspects of each audit.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Members, the needed motion is to approve the change in values of the state assessed property discovered on audit, and this is regarding Alamitos Energy Center LLC. Is there a motion to that effect? Mr. Vasquez moves,
Second.
and Mr. Gaines seconds. And we do not have any speaker cards nor written communications. So we'll go ahead to our AT&T moderator. Moderator, if you would please let us know if there's anyone who is hoping to speak to item 6.
If you'd like to comment on item number 6, please press 1 followed by 0. And nobody is queuing up.
Thank you. Members, any discussion regarding this item? We'll go ahead and indicate that Mr. Vasquez has made the motion, Mr. Gaines has seconded, and we'll ask Mr. Getty to call the roll.
Chair Lieber,
Aye.
Vice Chair Gaines,
Aye.
Member Vasquez,
Aye.
Member Schaefer,
Aye.
Controller Cohen.
Aye.
Great, thank you, members. That passes unanimously. We'll go to item 7, property tax matters, Huntington Beach Energy, regarding their audit. Ms. Cruz will present this item as well.
The next audit is for Huntington Beach Energy LLC. Huntington Beach is a 649 megawatt electric generation facility that also went online in February 2020 and is owned by the same parent company as Alamitos Energy Center. Huntington Beach was provided a copy of their audit report, and the assessee did provide additional information during the 30-day review window. Based on the information provided, SAPD staff made revisions to the initial audit report. Those revisions are correctly reflected in the recommendation before you, and I ask for the adoption of the audit for Huntington Beach Energy LLC.
Thank you. Members, the needed motion is to approve the audit and changes
I
in
second
values
it. I will second it.
of the state assessed properties, in this case Huntington Beach Energy. Mr. Schaefer, would you like to make the motion?
Yes, I so move.
Thank you. Mr. Schaefer moves, second
Second.
by Mr. Gaines. And we have no written communications nor any speaker cards on this item. So we'll go to the AT&T moderator. Moderator, if you'd please let us know if anyone is on the telephone line who would like to make comments on item 7.
For public comment on item number 7, please press 10, 1 followed by 0. No participants are queuing up.
Thank you. We'll bring it back. Seeing no further discussion, do you have discussion, Vice Chair Gaines?
If I could, just, can you go through the process for an audit? How is it determined that a company is audited? How often would that happen?
Typically, we go through a 4-year cycle, and our audits are determined based on either random selection or if they were flagged for audit during our appraisal season with concerns with incorrect information, to meet with the assessee and re-verify that they reported correctly.
Okay, so if they, on a consistent basis, were having issues with not reporting accurately, so maybe late submissions of things that they discovered after the fact,
Correct.
that might trigger an audit. But there's also a rotational basis.
Correct. So we do keep on file how often the assessees have been audited. So if we see that they haven't been audited on a 4-year cycle, they would be chosen for the next audit season.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, we have a motion from Mr. Schaefer and a second by Vice Chair Gaines.
I had a comment.
We do not have any, did we already go to the AT&T
we've
moderator
already-
on this one? We did.
Yes, we have.
I'm starting to really lose it here. So we've got our motion by Mr. Schaefer, a second by Mr. Gaines. Ms. Keddy, please call the roll.
Chair Lieber,
Aye.
Vice Chair Gaines,
Aye?
Member Vasquez,
Aye.
Member Schaefer,
Aye.
Controller Cohen.
Aye.
Thank you, members. That passes unanimously. And we will go on to item 8, property tax matters. China Telecom Americas Corporation regarding their audit. And Ms. Cruz is presenting on this item.
The next audit is for China Telecom Americas Corporation. China Telecom provides information technology services through its own infrastructure and through third-party resources. They were provided with a copy of their audit report. China Telecom did have additional communication with staff during the 30-day review period. However, no revisions were made to the original audit reported based on those communications. I ask for your adoption of the audit for China Telecom Americas Corporation.
Thank you. Members, the needed motion is to approve the changes in values of the state assessed properties regarding China Telecom Americas Corporation. And is there a motion on this? Moved by Mr. Vasquez,
Second?
seconded by Mr. Gaines. Members, we have no written communications nor any speaker cards on this item. So we'll go ahead and check in with our AT&T moderator. Moderator, is there anyone who would like to make a public comment on item 8?
To make public comment on item number 8, please press 1 followed by 0. 1 followed by 0. And no participants are queuing up.
Thank you. Members, is there any further discussion on this one? Seeing none.
Chair,
Mr.
Chair,
Vasquez.
this is Member
Oh, excuse
Schaefer.
me,
I have a
Member- Member Schaefer, yes, do you have a comment?
Yes, I see a 1.2 million in penalty. When we assess these penalties, is there an opportunity for showing of good faith, inadvertence, so that some of the penalty might be waived or compromised, or is that issue of good faith versus lack of good faith ever evaluated?
The SSEs do have an opportunity during the 30-day window from the initial audit letter to raise concerns about the penalty or interest applied to the audit.
And I have a question about the 4 million in assessment in lieu of interest. Why don't we just call it interest? Why is it called an assessment in lieu of interest if that's what it is?
And now we have Mr. McCool coming up to get into it as well.
Good morning. My name is Jack McCool. I'm the Chief of the State Assessed Properties Division. That is named so because that is how it is referenced in the statute. So it is an assessment in lieu of interest. It's not technically interest. So the idea behind the statute is if these values would have been on the roll when the lien year in question, that assessment in lieu of interest is essentially the interest that is missing, but we refer to it as assessment in lieu of interest because that is what it's specifically named as in the statute. And it's a statutorily required assessment that we have to put on, and there, to my knowledge, is no mechanism in the penalty abatement appeals process for the assessment in lieu of interest to be abated by vote of the board.
Thank you. That's a good answer. Thank you.
Clarification?
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's say they don't report property value. You find out, you discover it through audit.
Mm-hmm.
You assess that value for that period that it was not paid, and then is there interest on top of that?
From
penalty?
our assessment, no. So what our typical process when we do an audit, we may find an overassessment, which will result in a lowering of value. In those cases, there is no statutorily applied penalty or assessment in lieu of interest. When our audit discovers missing value, or as we refer to it as escaped assessment, we do have statutorily required penalty and interest we must apply. That is the only interest that we apply on our end. I'm not aware, and I do not believe, the counties apply additional interest. I don't believe that is the case, but that part of the process is outside of our scope. But
Okay.
I don't believe there's any additional interest.
Great, thank you.
Of course.
Thank you. So members, we have a motion by Mr. Vasquez and a second by Mr. Gaines. And so we'll go ahead and ask Mr. Getty to please call the roll.
Chair Lieber,
Aye.
Vice Chair Gaines.
Aye.
Member Vasquez,
Aye.
Member Schaefer,
Aye.
Controller Cohen. Aye.
Okay, thank you. That passes unanimously, members. And we'll go on to item 9, property tax matters regarding Lightspeed Networks audit. And Ms. Cruz will also present on this one.
The final audit is for Lightspeed Networks Incorporated. Lightspeed provides high-speed telecom services to wholesale and retail customers with fiber optic and copper networks. Lightspeed was provided with a copy of their audit report. Lightspeed did provide staff with additional information during the 30-day review period, and staff did make revisions to our original audit report based on the additional information. Those revisions are fully reflected in our recommended audit findings. I ask for the adoption of the audit for Lightspeed Networking. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, who would like to make the motion to approve the changes in values of the state assessed properties that were discovered on audit regarding Lightspeed Networks? Mr. Vasquez moves.
Second?
And Mr. Gaines seconds. And we will go first to our AT&T moderator after we indicate that we have not received any written communications nor any speaker cards in the auditorium. Moderator, if you could please let us know if there's anyone waiting to make a comment on item 9.
To comment on item number 9, please press 1 followed by 0. And nobody is queuing up at this time.
Okay, thank you. Members, any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion from Mr. Vasquez and a second by Mr. Gaines. Mr. Cuddy, if you would please call the roll.
Yes. Chair Lieber,
Aye.
Vice Chair Gaines,
Aye.
Member Vasquez,
Aye.
Member Schaefer,
Aye.
Controller Cohen.
Aye.
Thank you, members. That passes unanimously, and thank you for your presentations. Members, we're moving a little bit ahead of time here, but I'd like to ask Mr. Vasquez if he has a time certain for item 10.
Mr. Torres is on the line. so
Mr.
we can
Torres is
con-
on the
we
line.
can
Okay,
begin,
very good.
yes.
So we'll go ahead to item 10, Board Member Matters, California Assessors Association 2026 Legislative Perspectives and Priorities, and this will be presented by Mr. Vasquez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This agenda item is intended to broaden our understanding of the stakeholder perspectives on some of the current pending proposed bills for current legislative session. As I mentioned in the memo on this item, there is no action requested at this meeting. However, to the extent that we hear about bills that we want to take a position on in the future, this discussion today should provide us with some very helpful information and valuable discussion. So with that, I want to welcome Assessor Torres, which I understand is on the line from the CAA's Legislative Committee, who is here remotely. And thank you for the opportunity and the time to join us today. And I see you on the screen. So with that, let me go ahead and have you make your presentation, and then we'll open it up for some questions. I have a couple, and we'll see what other discussion we have from the members moving forward with any of the bills that your committee is currently looking at. Welcome.
Greg, thank you so much. I'm just checking in on the volume. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, you're good.
All right. Well, fantastic. And good morning to you, Controller Cohen, Chair Lieber, and the distinguished members of the committee. Thank you so much for your time this morning and for your continual support of us as individual assessors and also for the California Association of Assessors. We very much appreciate the opportunity to present to you today to discuss our legislative priorities. We're fresh off from our full legislative day in Sacramento yesterday. My name is, again, Joaquin Torres, San Francisco Assessor Recorder and Chair of the California Association of Assessors Legislative Committee for the 2025-2026 term. We represent 58 elected county assessors across the state. Established in 1902, the CAA's mission is to promote the collaboration among assessors, advocate for improvements to assessment laws and procedures in service of the public, and serve as a liaison with state agencies and the legislature. Our committee plays a central role in reviewing and monitoring legislation that may impact property assessment and taxation statewide. Next slide, please. Here, this slide, you'll see our approach to bill review, which we do with class. In evaluating legislation, we apply a consistent set of criteria to ensure that proposals are both effective and workable in practice. We start with clarity to ensure that bill language is precise and can be implemented without ambiguity to ensure seamless integration of our services and operations. We then assess legality, ensuring alignment with constitutional requirements, court rulings, and overall legal authority. Equally important is the administrative feasibility, whether county offices can implement the bill without undue strain on resources or operations. We also look at consistency and statutory alignment with the Revenue and Taxation Code and whether proposals uphold established assessment principles. Finally, we consider the impact on our stakeholders, property owners and partner agencies, administrative partners, and we focus on minimizing unnecessary burdens that would prevent us from best serving the interests of all parties involved, grounded in our work for the public. Taken together, these criteria help us support legislation that balances taxpayer protections, practical administration practices, and the full realization of the legislative intent. Currently, we're tracking about 60 bills, a few of which were recently amended from spot bills, and I'd like to highlight the positions that we've taken to date. We've taken support positions on several bills that provide clear, actionable language, align with those legal requirements, and promote consistency statewide. We often support legislation that improves fairness, clarity, and administrative workability. Since its passage in 2020, we've seen firsthand how the rigid rules we've discussed in front of this body earlier this year and in years past, how the rigid rules of Prop 19 can create unfair outcomes for homeowners and confusing circumstances for homeowners. When policies are not able to align with real life situations, we understand, as we know you do as well, that they can unintentionally penalize people who are already dealing with difficult circumstances. Because of the one-year timeline that was established for move-in, Proposition 19 had created problems for homeowners who aren't able to move during that legal timeline. For example, heirs navigating a probate face a lengthy legal process outside of their control. Our Sacramento assessor, Christina Nguyen, has taken the lead to work closely with legislators to address situations where homeowners, through no fault of their own, are unable to meet those statutory requirements. So this first bill, Assembly Bill 288 from Assemblymember Sayarto, is one example of the ongoing efforts to provide practical solutions in these cases while maintaining the integrity of Prop 19. Essentially, what it does is protect heirs from losing the Prop 19 tax benefit due to timing issues that are caused by the legal process, like probate. Similarly, the next bill, Senate bill, assessors are supporting legislation that promote timely recovery and clarity in the definition as such. And so for Senate Bill 1352 and Senate Bill 1053, introduced by and sponsored by Valladares, as well as Niello, these will help property owners rebuild after disasters with clarity of both substantial equivalency without triggering adverse tax consequences. In addition to that, they will also ensure that there is a timeline that's extended to allow for the transfer of a base year value that's in alignment with the actual time that it often takes for people to rebuild and then move in. So that there is a common sense alignment between the law as written and the realities of rebuilding for those who have been impacted. And of course, as so many of you know, and those in Los Angeles and Ventura counties who were so extraordinarily and disastrously impacted by the fires, this is an important process to ensure that government is in alignment with itself across state lines, local lines, as well as ensuring that our rules make sense to the people who have been impacted. We also are supporting equitable treatment across property uses, including ensuring consistent treatment for properties like church parking facilities. I'm talking about Senate Bill 1298, you can see here on the slide. And this seeks to do that by not penalizing churches with tax obligations based on the size of their congregation. Very much want to thank Assessor Marks and his team for bringing this forward for us, and certainly Senator Jones for advancing it. We also prioritize administrative efficiency, streamlining processes within the assessment appeals system. Assembly Bill 2172, introduced by Assemblymember Gibson, allows the AAB benefit for both assessors and applicants by reducing backlogs and ensuring timely resolutions. This provides flexibility to counties to allow them to have a singular hearing officer so that it's much easier to schedule and provide hearing opportunities to members of the public and allow for an easier scheduling process to administer that. And finally, we have Assembly Bill 2022 from Assemblymember Gonzalez. We've long supported legislation that benefit veterans, recognizing the importance that property tax relief programs can have for those who have served our country so admirably. And this bill that we are supporting establishes a temporary homeowner's property tax exemption for disabled veterans with 100% disability rating or their surviving spouses. For those bills identified as opposed, moving on from these ones that we are supporting, now moving on to oppose or oppose unless amended, We remain actively engaged with policymakers. We are always here to communicate with them, to educate them on what our positions are and why, so that we can achieve workable solutions where feasible. This includes collaborating with legislators and their staff, BOE staff, industry partners, so that we can refine bill language, address challenges in implementation, and ensure that we're aligning with both legal and administrative standards. So here we'll move into some of those opposed bills. We have found that these present some significant implementation concerns. The first is Senate Bill 1329 from Senator McNerney, who we had the pleasure of meeting directly with yesterday. This is a solar property valuation bill that introduces a special valuation method that complicates the standard appraisal practices and undermines consistency. And we are continued to be engaged with the Senator's office on this bill and our position. The next is Senate Bill 1402 that we were opposing from Ochoa Bo. This is in regards to imposing a 6-month appeals deadline that also limits fees and alters the burden of proof standards. And these we have made clear in our conversation with the Senator's staff that these are not realistic timelines that can be met across the diversity of counties in question. They would significantly strain the appeals administration, not only for staff within the assessor's office, but also in the independent bodies of the Assessment Appeals Board. We are very, very sensitive as a body to the experience of the taxpayer, the experience of tax agents and those who are representing property owners. But we also need to be mindful of the realities of the dynamics at play when dealing with timelines and scheduling and the role that all parties play in potential delays. But we do want to reinforce how focused we are among counties in working with independent bodies like the AABs in our counties to ensure that we are moving forward efficiently. And perhaps there are questions that could be raised by this body. I know that you are engaged in that process now. Then finally, we have here a Senate Bill 996 regarding manufactured homes. Certainly a wonderful intent behind the bill in trying to provide low-cost financing for those on limited incomes who own manufactured homes. In this case, this bill would reclassify certain manufactured homes from unsecured personal property to secured real property, creating operational impacts for counties with unclear benefits to those manufactured homeowners. We had questions in regards to the cost to the owner in relationship to moving them from an unsecured role to a secured role, and all of the obligations of increased property tax obligations that would occur year over year per Prop 13. And again, we've met with the Senator's office to share these concerns directly. And finally, we're moving on now to our oppose unless amended positions. The first one up here is a Senate bill that I'll discuss is Senate Bill 1415. We met with Senator Areguin's office and have been speaking with both his staff and he directly with the regards to the welfare exemption for moderate income housing. We are particularly focused on the administrative burden that would land on assessors to verify certification efforts of housing compliance that would include income-based eligibility. And we believe this is a function that is typically handled by housing agencies with a series of triggers that needs to be further developed as part of the administration of this potential impact of the bill. So we're in continued conversations with the author and have made ourselves available to he and his staff with some work on our end that needs to get done. Finally, we have the Assembly Bill 2235 by Assemblymember Pacheco. This is the Judicial Home Security Act. As many in our assessor world and recorder world as well, for those of us who wear dual hats, we have been advocating and doing a lot of proactive work around the importance of maintaining access with the integrity of our systems, while also being able to ensure that there is safe harbor for those elected, appointed officials who are facing serious threats, especially during this time. And at the same time, we need to ensure the integrity of our systems and maintain the principles of access that are necessary for both research, doing business in the state of California and our individual counties. And we are very happy with the initiative that the sponsor has taken to put the onus on having and seeking a change of address that is available to the public from their own initiative, as opposed to having a system completely impacted by screening or shielding or filtering out that information, which would be an extraordinary, would have an extraordinary impact on maintaining access to our services and information for the majority, super majority of cases where that is a benefit to those who seek our information. The bill proposes substituting the owner's actual address for an alternate address. And as I mentioned, this contains a framework that considers both the balancing of privacy protections and the preservation of the integrity and transparency of the property tax roll. It provides an opt-in approach to be verified by the Attorney General's office, and we very much appreciate that initiative and have continued to share with the author how that is important to us. We just have some system questions that need to get worked out. And with that, I just want to say thank you to the Board of Equalization members and, of course, the staff for your expertise, for your partnership, at times your patience, and also your willingness to roll up your sleeves and dive into some of the issues so that we could best serve the members and public of California, and in addition to all of our individual counties. We very much appreciate the strong collaboration and your proactive work around appeals on the complex issues of implementing Proposition 19 for pursuing pipeline rights of way under Senate Bill 1437, and also the home hardening efforts under Assembly Bill 1971, particularly work advanced in partnership with Member Bennett's office to support those wildfire-prone counties. These are challenging policy areas. Your engagement is very helpful. So I want to make sure that everyone understands how beneficial the Board of Equalization has been to us best serving Californians with consistent solutions for counties and taxpayers alike. I know it's a lot to share, but I just want to say thank you again for the continued collaboration, and we look forward to more to come. Thank you.
Thank you for that overview, especially as you laid it out in this handout. Those bills that you're currently opposing, unless amended, those you're opposing straight up, and then, of course, the ones you're supporting. And several of these bills that you addressed, I think could be definitely priorities for my constituents, especially in light of the fires that just took place in LA County. So I had a couple of follow-up questions, and I'll turn it over to my colleagues and see if they have some questions as well. And you kind of touched on it at the end here on AB 1971, the Bennett bill, designed to exclude home hardening, retrofitting improvements from the reassessment. So basically, when people make improvements to their homes to improve the wildfire resiliency, they would not face a new property tax burden. To me, that seems like a slam dunk, but I would just wanted to hear from you on more of a policy idea in terms of legislation, because we may want to encourage people to make, obviously, their homes safer without being penalized from doing so. And has your committee or CAA asked the assessors, wondering where exactly they're at? Because I noticed you didn't list it on the opposed or the opposed unless amended or even support at this point.
Certainly. Thank you very much for the question, Member Vasquez. This really is a conversation about incentives and ensuring that members of the public have something tangible in their hands that they can look at that lets them know that home hardening is not going to have a corresponding tax obligation to them. In essence and in practice, that is already within Revenue and Taxation Code and some guidance from the BOE. We are currently in conversations, as is the author, with the BOE to find out how and where is best to ensure that there is a place essentially to point for anyone who wants to pursue home hardening to be made very clear to them that home hardening effort of specific kinds and uses, similar to when we talk about retrofitting, very specific uses, types of home hardening are exempt from additional tax obligations they may face for that work. To use another example of the same theme is that in those areas that are seeking to increase housing production, in conversations with perhaps single-family homeowners who may have extra space in their backyards, there is a lot of confusion around what the property tax impact may be for them pursuing that public policy good of building a new unit or enhancing space within their within their property that would allow for an accessory dwelling unit, a new housing unit to be produced in a corresponding city and county. And that education process of having to remind people of what the actual obligation would be in that case has borne fruit for members of the public when they understand what that obligation is, the degree of that obligation may be, and also what that obligation is not. And also letting them know about the corresponding cost of having to construct a unit like that. In the case of home hardening, you know, these are individuals that the assembly member is seeking to incentivize for his constituents, especially those that are in areas where the likelihood of wildfire is high, and making sure that there is a place that they can go to quickly and simply without a lot of interpretation within bureaucratic documents or legal language that says to them, these types of home hardening improvements are exempt. And that's important for this member. So our conversations are continuing with Assemblymember Bennett and the BOE and his staff on that today.
Thank you. Let me bring up AB 2172 from Gibson. And you also, I noticed you had it also listed here. And, you know, the proposals allowing for counties to create positions of assessment appeals commissioners, essentially qualified individuals to hear appeals as single-member AABs. We've had an ongoing board work group which has considered issues with appeals and looking at ways to streamline the process. The needs of counties vary greatly based on the volume of appeals and the county resources available to hear those appeals. For example, Los Angeles, which deals with, you know, tens of thousands of appeals per year, the volume alone can create burdens on that process. I'm wondering, from the CAA, from your committee's perspective, how widely this kind of position could be used statewide, or what size counties, I guess, it would be most helpful for?
I'm not able to speak specifically in terms of the types of counties that would best benefit, but I will say that it all depends on the context of each individual county with a degree of nuance and research necessary before a question like that can be answered, that other counties need to take on. That process would be something, given that this bill would require local boards of supervisors, local bodies, authority bodies to approve this approach that would allow for hearing officers and their bodies to be reduced to a singular hearing officer to help expedite scheduling. That is certainly something that's based on my conversations with Los Angeles County, that there is both capacity to take on and also a need and a collaborative design process that has led to this recommendation. So that Los Angeles County can move through this process in this way. In an area like my jurisdiction that I can speak to more specifically, we have been pursuing other avenues of how to increase efficiency and the taxpayer experience in all parties involved in the scheduling process. That has included drawing in the controller's office to help manage and facilitate a design of principles and priorities for both the independent AAB and our Office of the Assessor Recorder, so that we can be sure that we're on the same page of how best to meet statutory deadlines and the manner in which we can do so with respect to our independence and the roles that we have to play. And also listing for ourselves commonly what the barriers to efficiency may be. I can say that that process is one that has benefited our office significantly, so that we are all clear that yes, we are independent bodies, but we can work together to enhance an efficient government for the public good.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, may I ask a question?
I'm going to bring up one more, and I have several others, but let me.
Member Vasquez,
sorry,
I
go
see
ahead.
that Controller Cohen has a question.
I do.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead, Controller. I can see your hand.
No problem. Thank you. Good morning to all my colleagues. Assessor Torres, I actually have two questions for you. First, I've enjoyed the presentation, very thoughtful, very well put together, and easy to understand. First question is how are assessors statewide planning to absorb increased workloads associated with the expanded exemptions? Now, I know every assessor in the state of California needs more money. So how are you going to absorb this, the expanded exemptions. And these, again, are exemptions particularly under AB, 2023 and Senate Bill 1415. Since some of these bills do not clearly lay out additional pathways to funding despite an increase of workload.
So I think this is where and thank you so much for the question, Controller Cohen, and always thank you to both you and your deputy for the support here in San Francisco. I know everyone has appreciated your support and collaboration in our work as assessors up and down the state. I also want to share that this is why the values of administrability and the precision of language are so important for us. Often our ability to carry additional weight or additional responsibilities can be obstructed or complicated if language is not clear. Assessors are not here to say the burden is too great for us to bear when there is a need in California to be met. But we are saying is that the burden that we carry needs to be smartly and precisely considered so that our staffs, including here in San Francisco with extraordinary burdens of unprecedented number of appeals that are impacting operations holistically, that we have the clarity necessary to be able to do this work. When there are unfunded mandates, we are very clear about what those costs may be, and also very clear when we need to take a position that are based on the realities of how our operations would be impacted. We try to be very, and I encourage as chair of the legislative committee, that when we dip our toe into matters of policy, that those are grounded in fairness and equity questions, and also specifically grounded in operational impacts and administrative impacts. When questions of policy touch the reality of us being able to administer the services that we need to provide to the public. So I would say that as long as those questions are seriously considered, there are ways for us to be open and to work. And when there are serious complications that impede our ability to adhere to the principles of revenue and taxation code and the Constitution, we raise those and hold a firm line when necessary. But quite often we are very open in wanting and seeking to be collaborative with the ideas that can best serve Californians.
So that's a long way, but I don't necessarily know if it answers the question. So it's to be determined, it sounds like.
Yeah, I would say it's
there's some
similar
flexibility.
Yeah, I think that similar to the valuation process, it can be a frustrating response. There is not an at-large response that can be made when it comes to the specifics of an individual bill or the specifics of an individual property. That the details are what deeply matter to us, which requires us to do such a deep dive on so many of these bills to ensure that we are fully aware and that the authors are aware of unintended consequences. So as you just said, in the simplest and always most clear way and direct way, it depends. It depends.
Okay, so I do have another question. What level of state support and system modernization, what level of state support and system modernization will be required to implement AB 2235 and of course implement it effectively?
AB 2235, I don't have that in front of me right
now.
AB
2023.
AB
I don't,
2023. I don't actually have that bill in front of me.
Okay.
Can you familiarize me with that
I can
bill?
follow up with you offline.
Certainly.
I've taken enough time. I want to turn it back over to Mr. Vasquez. Thank you very much.
That would be my pleasure, Madam Controller. So thank you.
Thank you. Let me just bring up AB 2085 or 89, which was the Assembly Bill Ward, which extends the prohibition on collection actions on properties with pending welfare exemption applications. You know, they have been approved for low-income housing tax credits or other specified funds. And we had our informational hearing last summer with experts from the Turner Center and Cal Housing Partnership on how the welfare exemption can incentivize affordable housing development. And we kind of talked about this a little bit actually when I was out in San Francisco with you. And one of the issues that I know is still brewing is the issue on area medium income, the welfare exemption, there's some folks out there that are trying to push or feel they're getting penalized when they're bringing somebody in at the low end, but then once they're in, they get promoted or they end up making a little bit more money,
Certainly.
which is good, but then it takes them out of that AMI classification, which talking to many of the nonprofits, I think they're comfortable with allowing those tenants to remain. But I guess it turns out that some of the developers, whether it's a for-profit or nonprofit, get dinged on the other end when they're trying to maintain their funding. And I was just wondering what your thoughts were on that, and any conversations you might have had with Assemblymember Ward on this issue.
Certainly. San Diego Assessor Jordan Marks and his team are currently assigned this bill. There's some still outstanding concerns, and just to back it up for a moment, the bill seeks to waive penalties and interests that are imposed by the tax collector when a welfare exemption is lost due to a change in ownership of a nonprofit managing general partner for affordable housing projects. The outstanding concerns that are currently in discussion are regarding both intent and implementation. So specifically, it's unclear whether the waiver would be applied indefinitely based on the language that's been provided, at least as of the last time that we were in discussions with San Diego, and also what criteria would be used to verify eligibility. For the example, the benefit only applies if it is necessary to continue maintaining the welfare exemption on the property. So there are just a lot of little details that still need to be worked out. We are hoping that we can get to a neutral position on this, but continued conversations are necessary to keep us from beginning to lean into the oppose area if the language and questions can't be substantially addressed.
Thank you. Let me see if any of my colleagues have.
Mr.
input.
Vasquez, Mr. Schaefer has his hand up.
Oh, go ahead, Member Schaefer.
Yes, I had a couple of questions. Mr. Assessor, I'm really impressed with your resume going back to Stanford because I'm a Cal graduate. I am curious about the SB 996 reclassifying manufactured homes as real property. We have a lot of manufactured homes in District 4. I've been in parks where the manufactured homes are worth about $50,000. And they're the kind you could put in your garage if you didn't want to be in a mobile home park. And then I've been in other parks like Palomar West in San Marcos, where the homes are all worth between $400,000 and $500,000. And there's no evidence that any of them have ever moved at all in the decades. So I imagine you have a lot of different products under the name of manufactured homes, from $50,000 investments to $500,000 investments. I'm curious if there would be a change in the tax obligations of the homeowner under classifying as real property as versus leaving it as it is now, that I guess they're classified as personal property on lease space.
Correct.
Is there a consistency in the property tax levy and in the personal property tax levy? If so, there'd probably be very little change in tax, and you might have to hire another 1,000 assessors to cover the state and get this all right.
Well, I thank you very, very much for the question. And I very much appreciate the lack of bias from a Cal graduate to a Stanford graduate. So thank you very much for that. And I apologize for my alma mater's violent treatment of stuffed bears on the campus prior to a big game. And I appreciate your understanding of youthful exuberance in anticipation of those games. But in all seriousness, in relationship to the manufactured homes bill, we are talking about, and this is anecdotal without in-depth review of analysis on the actual incomes or disposable income that individuals have who are living in manufactured homes. But just generally, we're discussing individuals with very limited incomes and the desire to be able to draw equity out of those properties to support their living needs. The question here is that based on the limited income, has it been fully considered what the change would mean for someone living in a manufactured home if you switch from unsecured to secured? In all frankness and directness, in our conversations with the authors, who were wonderful to talk to, and the intent behind the bill, as I mentioned earlier, is a good one of how do we increase economic opportunity for individuals living in these homes. The concern that we have is that there has not been economic analysis done to fully vet what those economics impact would be based on the consistent increases in property tax obligation as required by Proposition 13 of 2% per year moving forward. And what that actual number would mean for them in terms of additional out-of-pocket obligations once a change was made. What also isn't clear is if the individuals themselves, they would have to self-elect to make the change from being considered an unsecured property to a secured one, is that are they fully aware of what the obligations and costs would be for making the switch? And that also has been unclear to us in our conversations. They very much appreciated that observation and the concerns, and so that's why we are where we are today.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Member Vasquez, let me ask a
Any
question.
questions for any of my, I have a couple more, but go ahead. Let
I
me
believe
start with.
Ms. Cohen has another
Oh, did-
question.
I do have another one.
Controller,
Thank you
I'm
very
sorry,
much.
go ahead.
That's okay. Thank you. All right. With respect to AB 2172 by Assemblyman Mike Gibson,
Yes.
how can counties ensure consistency and fairness when utilizing a single hearing officer model? Now, there have been questions that have been raised about whether due process will be met.
Certainly, I think the same questions can be raised when you have three hearing officers. The question is, how are we balancing the application of property tax rules when we're considering an appeal before the independent body? And again, I'm speaking a touch out of turn because again, that's their independent analysis that's done. The assumption that I believe is being made here is that the structure of an individual county, should they elect it? And I think this would be a question that anyone that would have this decision before them on whether they would want to implement this in their individual county would want to ask this question as well. Tell me about the system that's in place in our county. How are you working with the city attorney's office to ensure that the law is being equitably and accurately applied to the specific question, whether that is a single family home or other type of property of varying complexity, whether that is an individual or whether that is a body of individuals. It is the system and the dynamics between those who are involved and should be involved that will make the difference in ensuring that there is a fair and accurate value that is either defended or ultimately determined with an upward or downward adjustment. But that is all through the application of the law. So still, for example, you would have a city attorney that would be present in some of these conversations. The nature and the value and the rigor of the analysis that's been done by the assessor, and also the time being taken by the individual, those can still play in whether it's one person versus three people. But again, that's a question for the individual county to determine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Back to you, Member Vasquez.
Thank you. Looks like my Vice Chair Gaines has some questions for you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Torres. I appreciate it. I just wanted to follow up on Controller Cohen's question again in terms of a fair hearing with an individual, independent hearing officer. And is there an opportunity to appeal that decision? This is the Gibson Bill 2172. So if I go to the single independent hearing officer and a decision's made, do I get an opportunity to appeal it if the decision is not to my liking?
Well, it depends on who the individual is, not to the liking. I know certainly here in San Francisco that when we found that there was a novel application or novel idea applied to a decision in relationships to a beloved ballpark in our city and county, we made the decision to take that to court to ensure that there was rigor in the process, that the courts needed to fully decide so that the questions regarding an appeal could be answered. In the cases of an individual a taxpayer, I think that those options will still be available to them, but I'd be happy to get back to you with some more analysis on this as well in collaboration with Los Angeles.
Okay, thank you. I'd appreciate that. I'm talking more about individuals that may not have the means to go through the court system. Is there another option for them?
Certainly. Let me get back, Member Gaines, let me get back to you on that after I have some additional discussions there. I don't want to answer out of turn and miss something here.
That's great. Thank you. I appreciate it. And then I also wanted to just clarify AB 2022 by Assembly Member Gonzalez. Expands property tax relief for 100% disabled veterans. And did you mention that that's temporary? I'm just trying to get a handle on.
Yes, yeah, that creates a temporary homeowner's property tax exemption for disabled veterans during that time period. And just as a reminder, in terms of the context here, all measures such as this or to increase the homeowner's exemption, those have all had very difficult times due to financial impacts that the state has determined on moving through the legislative process successfully.
Okay, so if it wasn't temporary, the odds of its passage would be next to nothing?
Well, I won't opine on where the analysis is right now until I see it, but I would agree with that statement.
Yeah, okay, great, thank you. And then finally, Member Schaefer already brought this up, so maybe we'll get more information, but I'm just trying to look at that current tax rate for a manufactured home. This is SB 996 Padilla, Senator Padilla, versus the Prop 13 tax rate. And then also the benefit of mortgage financing, right? Because if you can get a better financed rate through a mortgage with real property, that might offset any tax increase in transitioning from the current tax rate to Prop 13 tax rate.
I think the operative word there, Board Member Gaines, is might. And so until we see some clear numbers in front of us on what this actually could mean, I personally would be concerned around selling something to low-income individuals that may not have the benefit that is promised. And I think just some additional details are necessary there from a policy perspective for those to be considered.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. I appreciate this very much. The whole presentation is very helpful.
Oh, thank you very much. I want to especially thank my staff, Holly Lung, who leads government external affairs for me. She has done an exceptional job in both creating structure in our work as a legislative committee and also making sure that we're able to speak with clarity and quickly on the questions that you raise. Again, going back to Member Gaines, your question with regards to appeal, the appeals decision is final. And the Superior Court option is the only next step that can be taken after that appeals process has played out with the determination of the Assessment Appeals Board.
Okay. Again, my
but again, I would say that the interest here is to seek how we can best support the system in delivering equitable outcomes.
Yes.
And that and what really is being proposed here is that the localities would need to make the decision and would through the legislation be allowed to have this discussion on whether this system would work for their individual counties, with all of the associated questions that have been raised here on how do you ensure that if a question is raised that perhaps 3 members moving to 1 creates adverse outcomes from an equitable perspective. Would there be analysis that's done there and also changes that would be made based on those outcomes? That's something that a local body could ask when seeking to make that decision. In addition to other system improvements that the local body would want to see made. I think that is a very important foot forward that local bodies can make in taking seriously with awareness of their responsibilities for very complicated procedures that have to happen in relationship to tax policy and its outcomes and impacts on taxpayers.
That's great. And yeah, I appreciate Assemblyman Gibson and what he's trying to do. He's trying to solve a big issue with counties, especially in LA. Just trying to figure out how that individual that doesn't have means can go through this process and make sure that they're treated in a fair manner. If it's a big business or corporate entity, they can always hire an attorney or someone of means, right? So that would be my focus. And in concluding, I just want to let you know that Maxime Renault, who is a rookie recruited by the Sacramento Kings, is a Stanford grad. And he's doing awesome as a rookie, by the way.
Thank you very, very much. I feel very privileged to be a product of the California education system.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Chair, looks like my chair, Sally Lieber has some questions for you.
Thank you so much. Well, from one cardinal to another, I want to thank you, Assessor Torres, for your service to the County of San Francisco and also on the Legislative Committee. For the entire time that I've been on the board, I've really noticed how substantive and thorough the Legislative Committee is. And this is a new form of communication for us to be able to see all the bills that you've taken a position on. And so I very much appreciate that as well. And I think it will inform how we look at the legislative and statistics division's work coming forward to us. So thank you so much for that. And I wanted to ask about SB 1402. And can you fill us in on further detail about the Ledge Committee's opposition to it?
Certainly. And thank you very much to my fellow Cardinal and Tree. Yes, as I mentioned earlier, we met directly with Ochoa Bo's staff yesterday in Sacramento, just to talk about, and also some of the co-sponsors in Valladares as well, to let them know what the realities are in meeting statutory deadlines. With of course, sensitivity to how frustrating it is when the time is taken to deliver a decision of an appeal. Our staff and many staffs struggle even to reach that 2-year timeline. This doesn't mean that there aren't improvements that can be made to enhance the taxpayer and their associates or partners' experience. Certainly, there are changes that can be made, as I discussed earlier, that can change the experience for both the taxpayer as well as the bureaucratic actors involved in the appeals process. The concern that we have here, in addition to already the strains in meeting the existing 2-year timelines to resolve appeals, is the realities of trying to seek and meet a 6-month appeals deadline. We are grounded in fair and accurate processes. That takes time and that takes information sharing. And that is something that is extraordinarily important to us as a principle and a value to ensure that we are delivering on that for the public and ensuring that government is doing its due diligence fully, but not in a way that is cumbersome or unfair to a taxpayer. One of the conversations that we had here is that simply it's not realistic for us to meet those timelines. 6 months is simply not realistic. What are the amount of resources that would be necessary to actually make that process happen is also something that doesn't play out when you're considering the expertise necessary to do so with no limits in terms of expenditures that can be made Certainly in areas in Northern California, such as Santa Clara County, looking at $1 billion deficit per year over the next 3 years, or a $1 billion deficit over 2 years in San Francisco. Where are those resources going to come from to help ameliorate and address a potential 6-month appeals deadline? They're not there. They're not there. Certainly, if people were racing, as they already are, in seeking to meet a 2-year deadline, when we're talking about fair and equitable processes and how decisions are finally made, that 6-month process is just simply unrealistic in terms of meeting that based on the complexity of the issues that we face. There is this question, however, that we raise in our conversations regarding the time it takes to gather information and when that 2-year timeline begins. Perhaps a question that we've raised with the author and other legislators that have asked is, can there be a limitation on the amount of time in which a taxpayer must fully present the information that we are asking for before the clock begins to tick? So that way there is a real onus and opportunity for individuals to provide the information necessary to lead to a final, fair, and accurate assessment. There are many times when people have a strategy on how to engage the appeals process that includes buying time, letting time pass, seeking to find out where there might be vulnerabilities in capacity that would lead to a more favorable outcome for them as a taxpayer. That, again, isn't grounded in fair and accurate either. So I think that if we're going to be talking about the realities of timelines, balanced with fair and accuracy, I think we need to be having a different conversation than the one that SB 1402 is seeking.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your information. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair Lieber.
I have just one more bill I'll bring up, and then we'll close it up.
Certainly.
And that's on SB 1352, which you kind of touched on here as well. And I was just wondering, because this is a bill that I know my assessor is really getting really behind and is sponsoring and trying to do whatever he can on the wildfire because of the disasters we had in LA County, specifically in the Pacific Palisades and also in Altadena. And it's my understanding that for the most part, the assessors are allowing folks to rebuild to up to 110% before they're hit with a reassessment value on their property tax. And I was just wondering from your perspective, and well, one, to see if that's correct or is that consistent? And because I know when talking to my assessor, he says he really wants to codify this to make sure that it's across the board, that folks are not being dinged or penalized on the rebuild after a disaster if they go to 110% of the original footprint.
Certainly. Before I touch on this, I just want to touch on one other item of the previous bill that we talked regarding assessment appeals changes. There's also another provision there that eliminates application fees for properties that are valued under $2.5 million. And while that may be intended to improve access, this provision is most likely to encourage a higher volume of appeals, including ones that are speculative and protective filings. So again, wanting to make sure that we're balancing out the realities of a process and dynamics when considering legislation and ideas concerning assessment appeals changes. With that said, I'll come back now to your question, Member Vasquez, regarding the 110% substantial equivalency in a rebuild process. What I have not mentioned to date is that there are 2 current amendments that we've been made aware of. One is to limit the scope of properties that this bill would apply to those that are within a governor-declared disaster area. That's something that we support in terms of refining who would benefit from the substantial equivalency question. There is a second amendment that we do not agree with, and that is not to allow this bill, when passed, to be applied retroactively. The bill is intended to support those who were impacted by the Los Angeles and Ventura fires. That's part one. And so we believe that that it should be in alignment with its activation to be able to be retroactive to that time period that we're talking about. And that people who are currently in the rebuilding process don't need to suddenly slow that process down in order to meet a compliance requirement for the bill. In addition to that, there also needs to be a little bit of review and mindfulness in relationship to other calamities that may have occurred where this bill could apply, whether it's mudslides, other floods, et cetera, that need to be considered to ensure that we are equitably and thoughtfully applying the benefits that this would create for those counties and those property owners. The question of substantial equivalency from a financial perspective is that we also don't believe that anyone should be making a financial judgment about what this would cost the state without some deep analysis in relationship to how assessors are valuing properties that get rebuilt. Currently in Altadena, we're looking at, I want to say, over 24 properties out of many more that still need to be rebuilt. When it comes to assessor discretion, we have seen in the state of California previous bills that would allow for 120% substantial equivalency. And I think that was because there is a range of discretion involved in how an assessor determines what that substantial equivalency could be. There could be an argument, although we don't know what the data is because there has been no analysis of it, and certainly not on the other end as well, of what the full value of substantial equivalency could mean for the state of California already in practice. What this provides is a defined, clear number on what and how substantial equivalency can be defined at that 110%. And based on the common sense approach of assessors, we believe that this is the right number. And for another reason, it's also in alignment with what has been declared by the governor and other members of local government in relationship to how the permitting process and messaging from city departments would allow for, has presented how much a property can be rebuilt, including that 110% number. So that's really where we're focused here. Clarity of information, consistency of information, and also clarity about what the number means in relationship to substantial equivalency. So we have a statewide definition that ensures uniformity of process.
Thank you. And thank you again for the opportunity and for your time today to share your thoughts, especially from your perspective and the committee. Looking forward to, as we move forward with several of these bills, especially the ones that I think are kind of a slam dunk for us maybe to bring them back and officially take positions on. And in listening to some of the conversation and discussion, we might want to invite some of these authors. I was thinking of Mike Gibson and some of the others to, as I'm hearing some of the questions, both from the assessor's point of view and from my colleagues here, to maybe get some clarification. And I know some of these might be amended, you know, as it's moving forward. So hopefully we get the latest in terms of what the final product's going to be. So my recommendation would be that we might want to take a look at this. And I know when we get a little later in the agenda and we hear from our ledge staffer to kind of track this and follow these closely. And as it's getting closer to the end, to see if we can schedule it. And I'll leave it up to our chair to see where it might fit into the agenda in the next month or two, so we can bring back and hear from the actual authors of these bills. And with that, unless there's any other comments or questions from my colleagues, I think we're fine. And once again, I wanted to thank you, and not only you, but your committee, Assessor Torres, for your time and energy. I know I took you out and spent some time with you out in San Francisco, and I really appreciate the fact that you gave me that opportunity to dive a little bit deeper in some of these bills as we were discussing them back last month. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you very much, Member Vasquez. And we're always happy to make, and I'm always happy to make myself available for discussion on behalf of the legislative committees. You can hear in real time where we are, whether that's from you as members directly, Chair Lieber and your fellow members, or your staff that would like to have a conversation with mine. We're always here to help answer those questions and talk out some of the ideas that we have in relationship to how these bills apply to both operations and administration, as well as when policy questions are raised that we are aware of, but they're not fully defining our positions. And also, thank you very much for recognizing our committee members. They do a lot of hard work, as do all of their staffs. They do an exemplary job of being assigned bills, doing the review. And again, I really do need to thank Holly Long for creating a checklist that has allowed us to provide additional structure to how we consistently apply our values and questions to bill analysis. So we can be clear communicators to you and members of the legislature and their staff and other partners like the committee consultants, so they understand where we're coming from. And then we have a framework for how we can also be educated in where we may be making assumptions where they should not exist. So thank you very, very much as always. We deeply appreciate the partnership and the time that you've allowed us to share our passion for our work.
Well, thank you so much, Assessor Torres. And if we can ask you to stay with us for one more moment, we have some comments from our Executive Director, Yvette Stowers.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Good morning, Yvette Stowers, Executive Director. Thank you, Assessor Torres. I do listen in on you guys' ledge meetings, and I find them so helpful, so spiritful. So thank you for including myself and Mr. Young. And we are happy to provide input when we can. I just wanted to also comment on bills that this body may want to take a position on. I want to remind you that, yes, our ledge director is tracking most of these bills, and he is, or his team will be doing an analysis, and he provides you guys with a weekly update. But I also want to remind you of our process, looking back at the April 29th, 2025 action item, when it comes to the board taking a position on a bill. This board agreed to any member may bring forth a bill for a board position, but when they bring that on, it's the member's responsibility as a member matter. And the request is that they will have an analysis on how the bill is within the BOE's jurisdiction, the policy issue the bill is proposing to address, the fiscal impact if known, the administrative impact if known, a link to the bill text, and a link to the most recent bill analysis if available. I just wanted to bring that back up. That was an action that this board took April 29, 2025. The motion was made by Member Schaefer, and it was, the motion was seconded by Member Schaefer. The motion was made by Ms. Lieber, Chair Lieber at the time, and all members voted for it. So just a gentle reminder of our process. Thank you.
Excellent. And we'll be very mindful of that going forward. And thank you again to Assessor Torres for being here. And thank you to Mr. Vasquez and his staff for bringing forward a very useful item for our consideration. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Members, we do not have any written comments on this informational item, nor folks in the auditorium who would like to comment. So we'll go to our AT&T moderator to ask if there's anyone holding who would like to make a comment on item 10.
If you would like to make public comment on item number 10, please press 10 at this time, 1 followed by 0. And Madam Chair, nobody is queuing up.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you again to Mr. Vasquez for bringing this forward. And now we're just a little bit behind time here, but we'll go ahead and take our 10-minute break. And the time right now is 11:47, so we'll be back by 11:57. Thank you. Okay, members, we are back from our break, and we're going to go on to item 11, the consent agenda, which consists of the board meeting minutes. These are the minutes for the February 25th, 2026 board meeting. Members, is there a motion on this item?
So moved.
Okay, Mr. Emron
Second?
moves, and seconded by Mr. Gaines. And members, we do not have any written comments, nor any speaker cards from the auditorium, so we'll go to our AT&T moderator. Moderator, could you tell us if there's anyone on the line hoping to make a comment on item 11?
If you have any questions or a comment, then press 1, then 0. No one has queued up at this time.
Thank you. Members, any discussion on this item? Seeing none, we have a motion from Mr. Emron, seconded by Vice Chair Gaines. Mr. Ketty, if you would please call the roll.
Chair Lieber,
Aye.
Vice Chair Gaines,
Aye.
Member Vasquez,
Aye.
Member Schaefer,
Aye.
Deputy Controller Emron.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, members. The item passes unanimously, and we'll go on to our Chief Counsel matters. Item 12, Rules for Tax Appeals, Section 5237D and Section 100 change. And this will be presented by Mr. Bowing today. Thank you.
Hello. There we go. Hello, good afternoon, Chair Lieber, honorable board members. I am Eric Bowing, attorney with the legal department. Today, we are recommending that the board adopt a proposed Section 100 non-substantive change to Rule 5237 of the Rules for Tax Appeals, which covers refunds in the board's alcoholic beverage and insurance tax programs. The legislature has amended sections 32401 and 12977 of the Revenue and Taxation Code to require that refund determinations over $50,000 be made available as a public record for at least 10 days after the determination's effective date. Rule 5237 subdivision D, as it currently exists, is in keeping with the former statutory wording. It says 10 days prior to the effective date, and it refers to a proposed determination. The proposed amendment updates the rule to refer to 10 days after the effective date and deletes the word proposed, conforming the rule to current law. It doesn't make any substantive updates or changes to the rule. If the board adopts this proposed amendment, staff will file the rulemaking package directly with OAL to complete the change. We recommend and request that the board vote to adopt the proposed amendment to Rule 5237 of the Rules for Tax Appeals.
Okay, thank you. Members, the suggested motion would be to authorize Section 100 changes to rules for tax appeals, Section 5237D as recommended by staff. Is there a motion? Moved by Vice Chair Gaines,
I second.
and Mr. Schaefer seconds. Okay, super. We'll go out for public comment now. We do not have any written comments nor any speaker cards, so we'll go to our AT&T moderator. Moderator, if you could please let us know if there is anyone on the line who's hoping to comment on item 12.
No one has queued up at this time.
Okay, thank you. Members, any further discussion on this one? Okay, seeing none. We have a motion from Vice Chair Gaines, seconded by Mr. Schaefer. And Mr. Ketty, if you would please call the roll.
Chair Lieber,
Aye.
Vice Chair Gaines,
Aye.
Member Vasquez,
Aye.
Member Schaefer,
Aye.
Deputy Controller Emron.
Aye.
Okay, members, the motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Bowing, for your report on this.
Thank you.
And we'll go on now to our executive director's reports. Item 13, executive director report, Ms. Towers.
Good afternoon, Chair Lieber and honorable members. I'm Yvette Stowers, Executive Director. Before I begin, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge Member Schaefer's very special day. It is perhaps appropriate that as you were the youngest at the age of 27 to serve in the San Diego City Council, and in 2026, you are also the oldest to serve in a state constitutional office. Happy birthday, Member Schaefer. We are pleased to celebrate with you. Enjoy your day.
Well, thank you so much.
Members, for today's meeting, I have a couple of items to report. First, on February 25th, Deputy Director David Young of the Property Tax Department was a guest lecturer at University of California, Davis School of Law for their state and local taxation class. His presentation covered property taxation with discussion on the roles of the State Board of Equalization and county assessors, with a special emphasis on Proposition 13 and Proposition 19. We are pleased that Mr. Young was also able to take this opportunity to promote the BOE and perhaps even influence some young minds who could come work with us one day soon. Thank you, Mr. Young. Next, over the last several weeks, my executive management team and I have had the opportunity to appear before the state legislature in 2 separate hearings on our budget change proposals. With those, we are seeking funds for our IT modernization project as well as resources to implement Senate Bill 293. 293 is a new law that is known as the Generation Homeowners Protection Act, which established a pathway for survivors of the LA fires to bring their property transfer records up to date without penalty. This new law is really targeting the community of Altadena. On the last item, SB 293, I believe the legislator, the Department of Finance, and LAO office have been supportive of our request for a targeted amount of one-time funding to issue the necessary guidance and technical instructions to county assessors and other stakeholders. I had a meaningful exchange with Senator Smallwood Kovas of the 28th Senate District, recognizing the often disparate impact that disasters have on California diverse communities. We are looking forward to getting the resources in the new fiscal year to ensure that those who need our help the most can benefit from the extra time that this law provides. Also during a hearing with the California State Senate and Assembly Budget Fiscal Review Subcommittees, Mr. Jack McCall, our Chief State Assessed Property Division, presented the BOE's urgent need to replace its nearly 40-year-old Cobalt-era mainframe system with something that would bring us up to the 21st century. We are optimistic that our BCP will make it to the final budget for the next fiscal year. Many recognize there's no near-term fix to fix California's structural budget deficit. Of course, we support the legislators' need to prioritize funds during this budget crisis. However, we believe that our BCP meets the threshold urgent of high priority and mission-critical expenditures. On both BCPs, we are eager for the fiscal year 26-27 budget to be finalized so our plans for the next year, for our next year can continue. Finally, a reminder that BOE will be attending the Spring 2026 California Assessors Conference beginning April 13th in Riverside County. We are looking forward to some meaningful collaboration with assessors and their staff. Deputy Director David Young of the Property Tax Department will participate on the panel to discuss BOE update, covering various topics such as the state assessment season, assessment appeals, survey programs, and legislation that passed in 2025, and then finally an update on our voice over internet jurisdiction. Members of the Property Tax Department will also attend the conference, and I believe several board members and your staff will be attending as well. I will keep your office up to date on the details of this event and anything else that we hear back when we hear back on our BCPs. That concludes my report for item 13. I'm available to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, members, any questions for Ms. Dowers? Mr. Emron?
No questions, just had a really quick comment. I got a chance to join you all in the Capitol, both for the Assembly and the Senate hearing, just in support, and I thought you did an amazing job, great representation. Shout out to your team as well for stepping up and being there and having that great, great presence in the Capitol. So looking forward to what's to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Imran.
Excellent. Mr. Vasquez?
Just real quick, just wanted to thank you and, of course, Mr. Young and Mr. McCool for your leadership on this presentation you made before the Budget Committee. I'm just wondering, what's the next steps moving forward, or is there anything that we need to take any action on, or that you need to follow up on?
I really would appreciate the members' support if you're at the Capitol and you're speaking with any city members, if you can just be our advocate on why we need this funding. I really would appreciate it. I can put together a fact sheet for you, and you can have some quick talking points. I can put together a fact sheet. You guys know that's an assignment, right? So I will get that together for you and send it to you via email, and I would appreciate that.
No, that would be great. That's not a problem, because as a matter of fact, we're going to have the Latino Caucus, we're having a couple of meetings next week with some of the members on the budget, on other priority issues that the caucus has. So if you give me those, whatever talking points you have, and, any background, I have no problem talking to the folks about that as well.
Okay, will do.
Great, excellent. Any other comments, Mr. Schaefer or anyone else? Are you signaling? Okay, seeing none. Thank you so much for the presentation. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we'll go on
Thank you for the
to,
flowers too.
thank you. Item 14, our operational priorities report, presented by Ms. Renati.
It's just good morning still, Ms. Lieber and honorable members. I am Lisa Renati, Chief Deputy Director. I appreciate the opportunity to give you an update on the agency's operational priorities and our strategic goals and the different work that we're doing. First item is our workforce capacity. We continue to make steady progress filling our vacant positions across key program areas. Our focus has been targeted recruitment for classifications that directly support our core constitutional responsibilities. Since my last report, we have successfully filled 5 positions across the agency, including 4 external hires new to the BOE and 1 promotion. Our vacancy levels remain very low, and we continue to recruit and fill all of our vacant positions as quickly as possible. The next item is workforce and succession planning. I'm pleased to report that the publication of Publication 279, BOE's Workforce and Succession Plan for 2026 to 2030, which I've provided to you on the dais, is now also available on our website. The plan is a key companion to our strategic plan and establishes a proactive framework to sustain our high-performing organization. The plan provides a comprehensive assessment of our workforce, including current staffing profiles, projected needs, and a detailed gap analysis. It also outlines targeted strategies to address those gaps that are noted with a phased action plan that begins this year. These strategies are designed to strengthen recruitment and pipelines, support employee development, and ensure continuity and critical roles over time. A central component of this effort is our upcoming employee engagement survey. This is an important tool because it allows us to move beyond assumptions so that we base workforce decisions on direct, measurable feedback from our employees. The survey will provide insight into what attracts candidates to the BOE, what motivates employees to stay, and what factors may contribute to turnover. Equally important, the survey will help us assess overall engagement, workforce satisfaction, and organizational culture. These insights will help us identify strengths to build upon and targeted areas for improvement to enhance retention, performance, and employee experience. The results of the survey will directly inform our workforce strategies and ensure that our recruitment, retention, and succession efforts are data-driven, responsive, and aligned with the agency's long-term needs. And members, this concludes my report. I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, Mr. Vasquez.
Thank you for that report. And as I'm looking at the publication, I'm assuming, it's got here, I guess it's on, what is it? The agency page. It says that the assessed value came in at $9.1 trillion. That would be for this year, right?
I actually
Because I was
sneaked in.
quoting last year's,
Yeah,
and I think when I was talking to Ms. Stowers, and we thought it was 8.6, but I'm assuming that was the previous year, right?
it's a very astute question. I have currently working on the annual report, and I happen to have the data, and I snuck it in because my report got to publication first. So yes, that'll be the current number for
Current.
last fiscal year.
Wow, okay.
So
It's a big jump. Thanks.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Mr. Gaines?
If I could, just taking a look at the age distribution of the BOE by organizational hierarchy. And we've gone through a lot of change in the last 8 years, 7.5 or so. So it sounds like it's going to continue, right? Because we've had a lot of baby boomers retiring. And
Well,
so
yeah.
are we anticipating more of the same in the next 5 years?
Well, when I started 6 years ago, we had traditionalists still on board. So those traditionalists have mostly retired. We still have some. Then baby boomers are retiring. Gen X is now 60 years old, starting to retire. So it's kind of the wheel is turning. And what we're seeing is we used to have a lot, almost, I think 70% of our people eligible to retire. Now we're at 50. So we've hired a lot of new people in. So it's kind of turning the dial.
Right.
And I'm probably soon have someone standing up here talking about how millennials are retiring. So we'll just keep rotating the
Just
wheel.
stick
But
around long enough.
we are bringing more and more people in of all generations. So
That's great. And then I was wondering, can you also tell me about the 4 external hires? I'm always curious as to where people are coming from when they're employed, the BOE.
I don't have exactly where they came from. I know one of the people came from a county, and that person now works in our welfare exemption unit. And I don't know just exactly the other two. I know one of the people is on Member Vasquez's team. He's one of our new hires. So perhaps you could let Mr. Gaines know where that person came from.
He's a current mayor in it's a small little city, Santa Fe Springs in LA. And actually, I think he's going to join us in Riverside. Coming up on the, 13th, 14th?
But it looks like and the other person I have here looks like right out of college. So
Oh, okay.
we're hiring more people out of college now that the generalist classifications have been adjusted by CalHR, the analyst series. So we're bringing more analysts on board. It's a generalist classification for technical analytical work. We can then transfer them over into more appraisal and auditing work as they gain experience in education.
And was that some of the changes that we made with the state in terms of flexibility for employment?
The state CalHR did make that those adjustments in that classification, and we are still working. Our classification project is still with CalHR, and we're hoping to have that get approved and then go to the state personnel board, and then our classifications will be fixed, which they've been broken since probably the year 2000, and so we're finally getting those fixed. So we have a true entry-level position for both our appraiser and auditor appraiser. So.
Right, we were having issues with both of those classes, right, in terms of filling them.
Correct. That was our big difficulty, so.
Okay, that's
that
great.
That project is on their desk, so.
Good news.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your presentation. And we'll go on to item 15, Taxpayer Rights Advocate's Office report presented by Ms. Thompson. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Lieber and honorable board members. My name is Lisa Thompson, Chief of the Taxpayer Rights Advocate Office. And I'm here to provide you with an update on the activities of the Taxpayer Rights Advocate Office to keep you informed. As far as the total number of completed cases for February 2026, we had 28 cases. 11 were in Vice Chair Gaines's district, District 1. 6 were in Chair Lieber's district, District 2, and 6 were in Member Vasquez's district, District 3, 5 in Member Schaefer's district, District 4. Of those 28 cases, 12 were in the administrative category and 16 were in the valuation category. The memorandum that is attached to the public agenda notice does identify the completed case counts by topic areas within the valuation as well as the administrative category. However, the number of cases with the highest completed case count for the valuation category was 6 exclusions cases. And with respect to the administrative category, the counts were pretty evenly distributed among 3 topics. Among them were delinquent property taxes and defaulted taxes and penalty cancellations. As far as the exclusion cases, there were 6, and 2 pertain to the parent-child exclusion, 3 pertain to the base year value transfer exclusion, of which 2 were for persons age 55 and over, and the other one was for the disaster provisions. And the remaining exclusion was for a solar energy exclusion. So that concludes my update. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, great. Any questions, Mr. Vasquez?
Just real quick, thank you for that presentation and actually for all your work. I know you've done quite a bit on those worksheets and translating a lot of those worksheets, especially into Spanish. And I was wondering if there was any other additional ones you're looking at on those informational sheets in the works.
We have currently 15 information sheets
15?
available. We are working on another information sheet on supplemental assessments, which will be issued shortly, next couple of months. So.
And those will be, I know you're doing a pretty good job of making sure that they're available in Spanish as well, right?
There are some information sheets that were available, that are still available in Spanish. That was done by our former communications officer to do that. So I'm not sure if there is continued effort toward doing that, so.
Okay, anyone else with a question for Ms. Thompson? Seeing none, thank you so
Thank you.
much. And we'll go on to item 16, Property Tax Deputy Director's Report, presented by Mr. Young.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Lieber, honorable members of the board. For the record, my name is David Young, and I'm the Deputy Director of the Property Tax Department. For you today, I have 3 reports. The first 2 will be by Ms. Carolyn Stevens. She will give you an update on the letters to assessors that has since been published when we last met, and also on our training and certification program. She will be followed by Mr. McCool, who will give you an update as to what's going on in the State Assessed Properties Division. They are very, very busy right now. So if you guys are ready, I'll have Ms. Stevens start with the first 2.
Super, thank you. Ms. Stevens, please.
Good afternoon, Chair Lieber and honorable board members. I'm Carolyn Steeman, Principal Appraiser with the County Assessed Properties Division. Today, I will provide a brief report on letters to assessors. Attached to this month's agenda is a memo on letters to assessors, which provides a list of the LTAs issued since the report at the last board meeting and a link to the BOE's website where a list of all LTAs issued to date can be found. As of the date of the attached memo, the agency has issued a total of 13 LTAs for calendar year 2026 and 8 since the report at the last board meeting. Those LTAs are summarized in order as follows. An LTA to provide clarification on e-filing of assessment and appeal application. An LTA on the from the Assessment Practices Survey Division to issue the Tehama County Assessment Practices Survey. An LTA from the County Assessed Properties Division to issue the 2026 Property Tax Calendar. An LTA from the County Assessed Properties Division to issue the valuation of Certificated Aircraft California Standard Flight Times. An LTA from the State Assessed Properties Division to issue a report of the 2025 State Assessed Property Appeals. An LTA from the Assessment Practices Survey Division to issue the Sacramento County Assessment Sampling Survey. An LTA from the County Assessed Properties Division on the filing period extension for the parent-to-child and grandparent-to-grandchild exclusion claims and specified Los Angeles and Ventura County disaster areas. And lastly, an LTA from the County Assessed Properties Division on the 2025 property tax legislation. This concludes my report on letters to assessors. I'm available if you have any questions.
Great. Any questions? Mr. Vasquez?
Mine's more of a comment and really just kind of thanking you and the executive director for jumping and responding to the requests that we had. You know, in one of our work groups, when we met last group, the work group meeting, some of the feedback we got back, you folks jumped on it right away. And we've already got some positive feedback on those LTAs that were out there, at least from one county. So appreciate it.
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, our next sub-item is on appraisal, training, and certification, also presented by Ms. Deeman.
Great. Thank you. I'll now provide a brief report on the BOE's appraisal training and certification program. For the 2025-26 fiscal year, BOE staff scheduled 40 classes and 2 webinars. Additionally, 7 classes were scheduled with instructors in the county assessor's offices for their staff. Of the courses taught by the BOE, 33 have been completed since the beginning of the fiscal year, including 5 since the last board meeting. In addition, both webinars have been completed. For courses taught by the counties, 7 have completed since the beginning of the fiscal year. We continue to offer our existing online basic training courses through American River College and California State University, Sacramento, as well as additional online courses and self-study training sessions available on the BOE's website. This concludes my report on training and certification. I'm available to answer any questions.
Great. Any questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you so much for the report.
Thank you.
And we'll go on to our next sub-item on the state assessed property report presented by Mr. McCool.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Lieber and honorable members. My name is Jack McCool, Chief of the State Assessed Properties Division. Today, I will provide information on the status of ongoing work in our division. SAPD has completed our annual capitalization rate study. The study encapsulates months of research and analysis from our staff. The capitalization rates will be utilized in our income approach value indicators for the upcoming unitary valuation season. The full study is available in PDF format and is available upon request. We typically get over 200 requests for the study each year. The summary pages for each industry have been placed on the BOE's open data portal and are available to anyone if they wish to view it. March 1st was the last day to timely file the annual property statement. We received and processed 270 requests for extension to file, which represents about a 46% increase compared to last year. Our unitary appraisal staff will be busy now through May completing the unitary appraisals, which will come before the board at the May board meeting. Additionally, our real property appraisers are finalizing the land values for all of our state assessed companies. The real property unit typically values about 10,000 land parcels statewide each appraisal year. They accomplish this by conducting site inspections of each state assessed land parcel, as well as the potential comparable sales in order to determine the current market value for land parcels owned or used by state assessees. SAPD has now completed our audit work for the current audit year. We will have the final 2 audits for board action coming before the board at next month's agenda. Our audit year typically begins in June, and with the addition of VoIP entities to our assessment jurisdiction and the eventual implementation of our technology modernization project, we do anticipate our audit program growing over the next few years. And finally, our private road car property statements are due on April 30th, so staff will begin work on those as we wind down the state assessed appraisal season. That concludes my report on the status of ongoing items in our division, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. McCool? Vice Chair?
You had mentioned a 46% increase in asking for more time?
Correct.
So do you know what that's about?
Our speculation is most likely related to the addition of the VoIP assessment entities. So there is a regulatory change with the Public Utilities Commission in late November, I believe it was November 2024. We did some analysis internally with the legal department, and we determined that those entities should fall under state assessment. This is the first year those entities would file.
Okay. And do you know how many entities were added to the state assessed properties role?
We are currently trying to work through that, and I briefly mentioned our IT modernization project. One of the difficulties we have is we don't have a way to easily pull that data. So we literally are having to manually tabulate each assessee as we get them and classify them as a VoIP-only entity. We have a process by which we'll send a reminder letter to each assessee that has failed to file with us. So whether they missed the March 1 deadline or did not file an extension request, we're at a point now where we know all those entities. So we send a reminder letter. It basically says, hey, you missed the deadline, reminder to please file. Last year, we sent around 260 reminder letters. This year, it's a little over 400. So we are, again, anticipating that difference being largely from the VoIP entities. I know we have, as we're working through the process, we're in the around 50 entities that are VoIP specific, where we know we will have an assessment this year. I would anticipate that number growing, but at this point in time, that's about where we are.
That's ballpark? Or is that
yeah.
how many you've processed or?
So I would say we have about 50 new state assessees related just to VoIP.
Okay.
And that may be around all we'll get this year, all we'll have the information for. I do think we're going to have to do additional outreach for those that have not filed. And that number may grow, and how we go about growing that, whether it's via the audit process, since we have such a short amount of time to get the evaluations done, completed, and before the board. We may be in a situation where our entire audit program this coming year is devoted to examining those VoIP entities that have not filed.
Okay. And how's your staffing for additional workload?
I think any division leader in state government would say we could always use more. But we have hired 4 new tax auditors this season, and that will help. So we've had an issue with classification and recruitment, and we've made some really substantial progress in the last year to address the vacancies in this specific unit. And I believe now we're down to just simply 3 vacancies in our valuation and auditing team. So we're continuing to pursue those.
7?
We had, I believe we might even have been at 8 at one point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Good. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Thank you so much for your report. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Young, did you want to make a final comment to close us out?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I just wanted to really recognize our training and certification team. They've offered 40 classes this year. It's a historic high for us. And we have completed 33 out of the 40. So we got 7 more to go. All 2 webinars were already given and they were very well attended. So I want to recognize that team is only 3 people. So it's pretty small.
Wow.
And to directly answer your question, Vice Chair Gaines, our assessment of the VoIP, it parallels pretty much the assessor's whole processes. Before we can actually do the evaluation, there's the discovery process. We did not think that on our first year we would be able to basically discover all the accessible entities and their accessible property. We knew that it may be a multi-year process. As of right now, we're working through that process. They have added about 50 on our roll already, a roll of only 320-ish for this year. So it's a big number, but as the year and the future years unfold, the discovery process will continue. And so with that, I'm available for any questions you may have, but that concludes my presentation.
Yeah, thank you so much. That is very good information for us to hear. We really appreciate the training team because it's really superhuman to be able to have 3 staff have that much output.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go on to item 17, our Legislative Research and Statistics Division Chief's Report by Mr. Angelo.
Good afternoon, Chair Lieber and members. Ted Angelo, Legislative Director and Chief of the Legislative Research and Statistics Division. I think Mr. Torres did a great job today outlining a lot of the bills that my office is tracking and will be providing analyses to your offices soon. So I'm not going to go into great detail about a lot of those because it was very comprehensive. I would note that the Cal-Stanford discussion was well taken. My dad was a UC Berkeley master's in poli-sci graduate. So I've always had an affinity for the Bears. And since we were talking about substantial equivalence, I went to a lot of politically active concerts at the Greek Theater on the Berkeley campus. So I would say that's substantially equivalent. So all jokes aside, it is a wonderful music venue, and I don't know if Stanford has that. So in terms of a brief update on the legislative activity for March, the policy committees are just now starting to hear the bills that were introduced prior to the February 20th deadline. So those are going to be coming up in policy committees. Some are double referred. The board supported proposal to extend the sunset date governing the pipeline rights-of-way in Revenue Tax Code Section 40110. 401.10 has been introduced as SB 1437, which is a committee bill, as I had indicated before, by the Senate Revenue Tax Committee, and I will continue to keep you posted on its progress moving forward. Those are usually have no opposition, and they move with consent unless something comes up that's unforeseen. My office has forwarded a number of the BOE-related bills to you over the last few weeks. We continue to review the bills that impact BOE and are working on those analyses, as I had indicated. So far, some of the new introductions of note are, and you've heard some of them today, and also I'll keep it brief. AB 1668 by Assemblymember Pellerin extends the property tax welfare exemptions in Revenue Tax Code Section 214.02 by an additional 5 years. This has happened numerous times over the years, and it's currently on suspense in the Assembly Revenue Tax Committee for any kind of revenue loss, which those would be. So this again is one that is the open space land exemption area of 214.02. And it's been in place, I believe, since the early 80s. And so sometimes it's been extended for 10 years, sometimes it's 5, depending on what the budget circumstances are and what the committees are doing for sunset extensions. So pretty straightforward on that one. But many of the new bills that have passed, like 1485 for the native reacquisition of land, depend on that statute. So I expect it to move forward. AB 2022 by Assemblymember Gonzalez is the property tax disabled veterans full exemption that was discussed earlier. It passed the Veterans Committee yesterday, and so it'll be re-referred to the Revenue Tax Committee. Our analysis is forthcoming. This is the one that would exempt 100% property owned by a 100% disabled veteran. As opposed to some of the other ones I talked earlier in the year, the 2-year bills that allowed for the combination. And it also allows a unmarried surviving spouse, the exemption, and other technical things I won't go into today, but you'll have analyses on that soon. And it's a 5-year sunset extension of that. It's a 5-year, not pilot project, but sunset extension to do that. AB 2089 Ward is the property tax welfare exemption, change in controller ownership that was discussed earlier today. That one we're working on as well. This is the one where in the course of construction, you have the exemption in place. But when the welfare tax exemption's been granted, but they lost the exemption due to a change in control or ownership, they're trying to expand that to the new entity, so they don't have to start over from square one. So it's, staying objective, it's just they're trying to add another legal process to do that, and we'll have an analysis on that one. AB 2172 is the Property Tax Assessment Appeals Board. You went over the fairness issues and the barriers to efficiencies from the 3-member to the 1-member, so I won't belabor that. There's a lot to look over on that one. I would say that, a lot of entities have, just like in the legal realm, sometimes you go before a jury, sometimes you go before a judge. So I don't think saying a 3-member board has to be the way it always has been. That's just my opinion, but, it's a process. They need to weigh the pros and cons against each of those. SB 974, Sayardo, Special Needs Trust statutory concept is a technical one that would require an assessor to determine that a person is eligible as severely or permanently disabled claimant under provisions relating to transfers of taxable value. So if they receive a county, it proposes a process for special needs trusts that might be already contemplated in existing law, so it may or may not be necessary. We're analyzing that right now to see if a new statute is needed for that. SB 996, Padilla is the manufactured housing classification that was discussed at depth today. We're looking at that. SB 1053, Nilo is the bill that is similar to his bill from last year that extends disaster base year value period from 5 to 8 years for any county via local ordinance instead of by statute. So if a disaster were declared by the governor, they'd get the additional 3 years that we've been talking about for the bills from last year, depending if an ordinance was passed by the locals. It's going to be a cost issue to automatically allow that to be triggered by local ordinance. So it'll definitely go on suspense, but some folks would like to have that flexibility, and some folks want to do it on a case-by-case basis. SB 1298, the church parking universal exemption. I'm looking at that bill. That's a new one, and to see if it was. Anyway, we're taking a look at that one. I believe it was probably close to what was already exempt under the existing law, and just carving out, parking next to the facility as exempt as well. Moderate income housing partial tax exclusion is SB 1415. We're looking at that one as well. It has a lot of costs associated with it, has a sunset in its first iteration, but it's going to be costly. A bill similar to that last year by Senator Wiener was held on suspense, but they're trying a new proposal this year with some slight changes. In terms of the 2-year bills from last year, I reported on before, SCA 4 and its board-supported companion bill, SB 623, passed over to the Assembly. They haven't been scheduled yet for their next hearings. These would allow the combining of the veterans and homeowners exemptions I alluded to earlier. SB 288 by Senator Sayardo was discussed by Mr. Torres earlier. This is the one that allows the Prop 19 extra time for probate that I've reported on, and that hasn't been scheduled yet, but has moved over. As always, my office will continue to keep you updated with weekly status reports and copies of the analyses. They're coming through and moving right now in quite a few of them. And that concludes my report, and I'm free to answer any questions you might have on anything I discussed today or didn't discuss today.
Okay, questions for Mr. Angelo? Mr. Vasquez.
Just one quick one. Thank you for your overview, and you're right. We had pretty extensive discussion and somewhat of an analysis already from Assessor Torres. I was just wondering, moving forward, as you're mentioning in your opening remarks too about bills that you're going to be doing the analysis on, is there an order that you follow, or is it just based on as you're hearing information that's coming out?
We try to get them, those that are scheduled the earliest, we try to get those done as quickly as we can, and try to get them done a week in advance of the hearings in the policy committees. But we usually make sure that they're ready for the Rev and Tax Committee hearings as much as possible. And I always share financial revenue and cost implications that are likely with the staff if one isn't finalized yet because of the review process. So they have an idea of what's going to be going on and if it needs to be triggered for suspense or not.
Thank you.
Vice Chair.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to take another look at SB 996, Padilla, manufactured housing. And so I'm just curious as to looking at these tax rates and kind of understand that, like the question I had asked earlier. Because if they're real property, then you can take out a mortgage, right? And so it's a different financing mechanism.
Right.
Can you keep us apprised as to, it'd be great to have the analysis when that's available and understand it better.
We're working on that. It doesn't have a huge impact to the board in that those properties are assessed as personalty versus realty, depending on how the build is done. So what they're proposing in the bill, from my layman's perspective, and I don't know the details of this, Mr. Young knows a lot more about this, but the tax rate is generally the same for personalty and realty. There may be some factors under Prop 13 where there's a slight difference here and there. So if you're building something in a more robust way to get better loan rates by saying a mobile home is now a manufactured home with these strengths that make it a more insurable, for insurance purposes and whatnot, that shouldn't have any factor on the tax implications for us as a board, but it is a public policy debate. So, but we are looking at the bill as to how it would impact us, but from a revenue standpoint, I don't anticipate much of a change.
So it's really focused on modular homes that would have fire resistance?
Or strength of foundation.
Okay.
To make it, please.
Mr. Young.
Yes, thank you for the question. So the difference between the tax rates, if it's on the unsecured as personalty versus if it's on the secured role as real property, secured property is always this year's tax rate. For the unsecured, if it's personalty, it's last year's tax rate. So there's a 1-year lag, but functionally it's pretty close to being the same property tax rate. So there's a little bit of difference there, but it's more of a lag than it is a true difference. It just follows every year. The difference is that if you are going to classify it as realty, then it falls under Prop 13. Under Prop 13, you have to look at the land and improvement as a whole, and you get the 2-year, the 2% factoring every year. So in general, typically it would go up in value every year. As personalty, you take a look at its fair market value every single year anew. So as the home gets older, it typically depreciates and actually goes down in value.
Yes.
So that may be an unintended consequence in treating it this way. But the main thrust of it is to get favorable financing for folks that actually buy one of these mobile homes. At the election of the property owner, the homeowner, it's not just I choose to have it assessed as realty. They actually have to put it on a special foundation. There's a requirement in there, and it's embedded in the proposed legislation. So you have to take certain steps, and it has to meet that requirement that it's on that special foundation so that you can classify it as real property.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Angelo.
I was pretty close.
That counts too.
It really was.
It's kind of like Berkeley versus Stanford. They're
There
so
we go.
close to each other, right across
They're
the bay.
both excellent, right? So I would just, in closing, beyond other questions, and if you have more questions, feel free.
Okay, great. And I'm also very interested in the bill that was discussed about the possibility of electing how you would treat a manufactured mobile home. And so I'll be researching also what's in the bill in terms of the information for the consumer. It's a very important decision for them.
Right.
So, excellent. Well, any other questions or comments? Okay.
I would just say, I would reiterate what Ms. Stowers talked about in terms of the action item from last year and bringing bills forward for taking positions and whatnot. It is a process, as we know,
Yes.
under Bagley-Keene. And I am limited in what I can do for the board members versus sharing objective information for the analyses. As much as I'd like to be as helpful as I could, I am limited in that regard. And I would say happy birthday to Mr. Schaefer and to Ms. Stowers in advance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And let's see here now. We're going to go on. We have no written comments, nor anyone with a speaker card. So we'd like to go out to our AT&T moderator to see if there's anyone on the phone line who would like to comment on items 13 through 17.
Please take this opportunity and press star followed by 1 to comment on items 13 through 17. Again, please press 1 followed by 0. 1 followed by 0 for items 13 through 17. And Madam Chair, nobody is queuing out.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go on to our last item for today is the closing remarks and adjournment. If board members have closing remarks to make, Vice Chair, did you have any or?
No.
Mr. Vasquez?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to see if we could adjourn in memory of a great professor we just lost at CSUN. Actually, I think when he started, it wasn't called CSUN, it was State University of Northridge. He was, I consider him kind of like the father of Chicano studies back in the day. I knew him as Rudy, but as Rodolfo Francisco Acuna, a pioneer and American historian, educator often called the father of Chicano studies, who died in Northridge, California of Parkinson's disease on March the 23rd at the age of 93. Dr. Acuna was born on May 18, 1932 in Boyle Heights community of Los Angeles, California. His parents were from the Mexican states of Sonora and Jalisco. And his early life was deeply rooted in the experiences of the Mexican Americans. He served in the Army during the Korean War and was also stationed in Germany. Later, he earned his bachelor's and master's degrees from Los Angeles State College, Cal State LA, and then his PhD in history from University of Southern California in 1968. In 69, Dr. Acuna founded the Chicano Studies Department at California State University, Northridge, establishing what was arguably the first department of its kind in the nation to provide vital academic home for the study of Mexican-American history, culture, social issues. He served as the first chair and remained a professor of emeritus at the institution, which grew to become the largest Chicano Studies program in the United States. I believe he was there 60 years, even into his retirement. Dr. Acuna was also a prolific author, published over 20 books and numerous articles, many of which received critical acclaim, including the works of Occupied America, Anything But a Mexican, Chicanos in Contemporary Los Angeles. His peers also recognized him as his contributions, naming him one of the scholars of the National Association of Chicano and Chicana Studies in 1989, the highest honor bestowed on that organization. Dr. Cunha was a tireless activist and advocate for social justice. He co-founded the Labor Community Strategy Center in 1989, a civil rights advocacy group, consistently spoke out on issues affecting the Latino communities, including immigration and censorship of ethnic studies. His unwavering commitment to challenging injustice earned him recognition as one of the 100 most influential educators of the 20th century by Black issues in higher education. Dr. Acuna's dedication to education and activism extended for over 6 decades, mentoring thousands of students and shaping academic discourse. He received the Lifetime Achievement Award from the National Hispanic Institute in 2008, similar honor for the Mexican American Legal Defense and Educational Fund, MALDIV, in 2010. His work has left an incredible mark on the countless individuals and will continue to influence the study of Chicano history and identify the generations to come. Dr. Acuna is survived by his wife, Guadalupe, and daughter, Angela. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vasquez. We appreciate you bringing forward the name of Dr. Cunha and hope that you can convey the board's condolences and recognition of the body of work that he was able to achieve to the Latino caucus as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Emron.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you to all my colleagues. What a great meeting. And so I usually sit here, and next Tuesday, you all know, is a state holiday. What was supposed to be Cesar Chavez Day, but the state has been rocked because there's been allegations that an icon, Dolores Huertas, brought forward of abuse, stories of horror. And when I've heard her stories, when I read the transcript, I had chills that overcame me because nobody should ever have to go through that abuse nor keep a secret for so long. And that was over 60 years that she kept that. And there's always been this notion that you either believe survivors or you support the movement, but you can do both. You can support survivors of sexual assault and you can still support a movement because there's no one person that's bigger than a movement. So whether it be called United Farm Workers Day or anything else, it's a movement that continues to shine a light bigger than one person. And my love goes out to Dolores Huerta and the other 2 survivors, Ana Moragua and Deborah Rojas, who were abused when they were children. And it's a very sad day in the state of California. It's a sad month, to be honest with you, during Women's History Month that we have to hear of these stories. But I hope this revelation gives us all a little bit of more ease to understand that the pain that people go through, the pain that some hold within, even if you're such a famous person, a celebrity, people still go through so much. And I just want to extend my love and support to all 3 of those survivors during this time. And it's just sad. It's just very, very sad. So happy International Farm Workers Day. And also to everyone that's going through something, please speak up. We are here with you because we are truly one big California family. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Emron. And as we prepare to adjourn the meeting, I'll indicate that our next scheduled board meeting is on Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026. And we will be holding the new Intangibles Board Work Group meeting on Thursday, April 23rd, 2026. And those will both be at the Melee State Office Complex in Sacramento. And with that, we are adjourned.
Thank you.